Thanks for clicking on this video. Quick question, has anyone ever met their partner through social media? Well, today we're diving into a crime case that kicked off from an online introduction, especially through dating apps. And since this one's set in South America, you know Facebook is the go-to app down there. So on November 10th, 2022, at a port in Jaco, Peru, a bunch of suspicious birds were bothering fishermen getting ready for their day. After chasing those pesky birds away, they stumbled upon something horrifying, a severed finger with a silver ring on it. But that's not all. They also found other body parts, including a faceless head and a body with organs intentionally removed. The police rushed in and concluded that the human remains belonged to a woman around 40 years old. But identifying her was tricky since her face and fingerprints were gone. All signs pointed to Bianca Arellano, a foreign woman who had gone missing and was trending on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, or X now, don't forget to follow I Felt the Dark on social media. Bianca Olivia Arellano Guz is a 50-year-old woman from Mexico who worked as a driver during the pandemic. Bianca started spending her time playing online video games, and one day she decided to join a Facebook group called OS, a gamer community. There, she met one of the group admins, Yuan Pablo Villafuerte Pinto, a Peruvian guy 14 years younger than her, who was a medical student at the National University of Jose Faustino Sanchez Carrion in Jaco. Even with the distance and age difference, their relationship kept growing. They often chatted on Discord, and Yuan made Bianca an admin of the Facebook group. Their relationship got even more romantic when Bianca's birthday came around. Yuan filled her Facebook wall with love messages and well wishes for her happiness. A few months later, they officially became a couple, but then distance started to be a problem. Bianca decided to take a trip to Peru to meet Yuan. Things were tough financially for Bianca, so she had to sell almost all her belongings for the trip, including her car, bike, and some nice clothes she owned. On July 27, 2022, Bianca flew from Mexico to Lima. The next day, she arrived at Jorge Chavez Airport, where Yuan was waiting for her. Together, they started a new life. Bianca told her family she was happy with Yuan. They lived near Jaco Beach and visited various tourist spots. But that happiness didn't last long because everything was about to change. Bianca told her family she bought a phone in Peru so she could stay in touch with Yuan while he was in school. But on Monday, November 7th, Bianca suddenly vanished. There was no news from her, and her social media accounts went silent. Her family was getting more and more worried since Bianca was known to always have her phone on her, like even when she was in the bathroom. They tried reaching out to Bianca in every way possible, but got nothing. Her niece, Carla Arellano, messaged Yuan on Facebook to ask where her aunt was. Maybe she was stuck in the internet, lost in a sea of funny memes. Yuan's response was pretty cold. He said he hadn't heard from Bianca in days. According to him, Bianca decided to leave him because he couldn't give her the life she wanted. Maybe because he was better at making instant noodles than planning for the future. He claimed he was really sad and wished Bianca the best, but also complained that no one could cook noodles as fast as Bianca could. He mentioned the last he heard, Bianca was heading to Lima to catch a flight to Mexico, and speculated that her phone might have run out of battery, or maybe she was chilling on the beach, ignoring all her messages. But Carla felt something was off with Yuan's story. It sounded fishy, like a horror movie script written by a coffee-addicted writer. She decided to voice her concerns to the public. Carla tweeted, asking for help finding her missing aunt, who hadn't been seen for days. In her Twitter thread, she explained how Bianca had been living with Yuan after they met online on Facebook, a place where you can find friends, love, or even some heart-racing drama. Carla emphasized that Yuan was the last person to see Bianca. She firmly expressed her suspicion that Yuan knew more than he was letting on. Maybe there was a clue hidden behind that cold smile of his. This news quickly spread on social media with the hashtag #NosFaltaBianca, making it go viral faster than a video of a cat playing the piano. Bianca's family then reported her missing to the police and filed a report with the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs, hoping to hear back from the authorities in Peru. After 3 days of waiting, the police finally started their search, maybe while also checking out the best lunch spots in Jaco. They got a report from a group of fishermen along Hako Beach who found human body parts. At first, they discovered a finger, then an arm, and a few meters away, a head that had been picked at by scavenger birds. Maybe those birds were feeling the sadness too. The skin on the face and fingers had been cut with such precision, showing that the perpetrator didn't want the victim to be recognized. The police arrived at the scene, followed by forensic experts ready to investigate further, just like detectives in the movies, but without the dramatic sound effects, only the noise of the crowd watching the investigation unfold on the beach. Even though the body was hard to identify, the police found 3 key clues. First, the body was of a woman around 40 years old. Second, her fingerprints weren't in any database, meaning she was likely a foreigner. This reminded the police of a missing Mexican woman's case. Third, there was a silver ring on one of her fingers. All signs pointed to Bianca. The police then contacted her family, who broke down when they received the photos. They immediately sent back a picture of Bianca wearing a similar ring to confirm if it was her. The police proceeded with a DNA test on the body parts. On November 16th, Bianca's family traveled to Lima for the necessary procedures. Police started investigating who was behind the murder and why. There was speculation that the victim was killed somewhere else and dumped at the beach. On November 19th, while at Chorrillos Beach, police found more body parts that seemed to match the remains found earlier. The body was missing its internal organs, sparking theories about human trafficking, though there wasn't enough evidence to point directly to the culprit. Bianca's family was convinced they already knew who did it. They shared info with the police about Bianca's relationships, a kind of family-led investigation full of drama. But sadly, the interrogation didn't play out like a detective movie. On Monday, November 14th, Bianca's ex-boyfriend gave a statement to the police. He shared that since arriving in Peru, Bianca didn't have a stable place to live. They had previously only been friends on Facebook, the site that seems to witness tons of love stories and breakups. Yuan, Bianca's ex, firmly stated he had nothing to do with the crime. With a serious tone, he hoped the police would catch the real culprit soon, praying it wasn't him. After giving his testimony, Yuan refused to answer any more questions, maybe feeling like he had already played his part as a guest star in this drama. But other witnesses popped up, bringing new twists to the story. A few days before Bianca disappeared, neighbors saw her at a bar with Yuan. Maybe it was a last date, they didn't realize. The landlord where Yuan lived also spoke out, saying the two had been in a relationship for months, although not many knew about it. And the most shocking part? A woman living in the same building dropped a major bomb. She saw Yuan buying several black plastic bags from her shop just days before Bianca went missing. Who knew buying trash bags could go from being a regular chore to becoming a crucial piece of criminal evidence?
Don't miss this exciting story. Watch this video until the end to get all the surprising detail. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. That way you won't miss out on any other interesting videos. Join our community and enjoy various exciting stories every week.
It's suspected that the black plastic bags Yuan bought were used to transport the body. Because, of course, when life is full of drama, even trash bags have to play a part. Yuan quickly became the center of controversy, and like a broken record, he kept repeating the same story to detectives, claiming that Bianca had mental health issues that made her dangerous, because obviously blaming the victim is the go-to move, right? Oh, and let's not forget, Yuan also accused Bianca of cheating while slamming her family for spreading fake news. For an extra touch of drama, Yuan changed his profile picture, because yep, that totally makes him look innocent, and deleted all posts about his relationship with Bianca. It's like he thought erasing his digital footprint could wipe away his crime too. With Yuan looking more suspicious than a bad thriller movie, prosecutors decided to investigate the house where Yuan and Bianca stayed. The police searched the property on Buenos Aires Street in the Manzanares district, Hako. There they found something more chilling than a horror movie set. Women's clothes, hair remains, yikes, 3 suitcases, and, because plot twists are necessary, a Mexican flag. No doubt, Bianca had lived there with Yuan, who seemed to be better at drama than romance. To make it even more cinematic, police used luminol tests around the house, and boom, they found traces of blood on the mattress, a jug. Who knew a jug could be evidence? The bathroom, sink, and of course, the toilet. After further tests at the Hako Regional Hospital, it was confirmed that the blood belonged to Bianca. Her family, who never imagined this drama would turn into a tragedy, received the news with heavy hearts. They flew to Peru, not for a vacation, but to identify the clothes found in the suitcases, and officially open the case against Yuan for Bianca's murder. Because in real life, Facebook love stories can end worse than horror films. Once in Peru, Bianca's family immediately reached out to the media to get the story out there. Because if there's one thing you can count on in this modern world, it's the power of viral news. The Mexican ambassador in Peru quickly helped the family get visas so they could stay while the investigation continued. They didn't come for Machu Picchu, they came for justice. Since Bianca and Yuan's relationship started online, because who needs real dates when there's Facebook, the police examined all the digital platforms they used to communicate. And here's where the story goes from romantic mystery to what is this, sci-fi horror. On Yuan's TikTok account, police found loads of videos, not dance challenges or funny pranks, but human organs. Yes, you read that right. His latest video showed a stomach, pancreas, and brain. Coincidentally, the very organs missing from the body found on Hako Beach. At that point, the case went from a murder mystery to suspected organ trafficking. Crazy, right? Like we're talking about some exotic meat market, not something horrifying. Beef or human flesh, sir? Of course, this wasn't just any market. It's the black market, and Yuan seemed to be dealing with more organs than you'd ever see in your high school biology class. If this were fiction, maybe we'd all laugh, but reality is often stranger and scarier than movies. Things got even more twisted, like watching a never-ending plot twist unfold. Yuan was expelled from the medical school he attended, which is a big deal for someone who seems way too familiar with human anatomy. Even one of the university professors slammed him like, "This isn't what we meant by a practical exam, Yuan." But soon, Yuan disappeared from the radar. The police requested the public ministry to detain the main suspect for 72 hours. On November 17th, Yuan was finally arrested at a house in San Hilarion, San Juan de Lurigancho, where he was living with his new girlfriend. What's wild is, during the arrest, his new girlfriend, totally drunk, was desperately defending Yuan, begging the cops not to take him away. Because who needs a lawyer when your drunk partner can scream, "He's innocent," with all the feels? During the arrest, the police asked Yuan to acknowledge the arrest warrant, but Yuan denied all accusations, insisting he had nothing to do with Bianca's disappearance. Seems like Yuan's better at drama than dealing with reality. The cops, probably running out of patience, forced Yuan to read the arrest papers, because if you're gonna run, at least read the official notice first. And then they took him to the station for further questioning. A few days later, Yuan held a press conference that could totally be material for a future Netflix docuseries. In front of the cameras, with a face full of confidence, he claimed all the accusations had destroyed his life, his family, and maybe even his reputation as a TikTok anatomy influencer. Whether he actually believed his own words, or this was the best acting of his life, it's clear the criminal world is full of surprises. Yuan's statement about the case seemed to be a dramatic turning point in his university career. With this holier-than-thou attitude, he clarified that he's always shown good behavior, both at school and at home. Like getting a model student award could erase all the mounting evidence. He closed his press conference with the flair of a lead actor in a soap opera, claiming he was wrongly accused and begged the police to find the real culprit behind Bianca's dismemberment. But of course, the problem is, all the evidence points right at him. From plastic bags to digital footprints, it's like the whole world's watching and saying, "Yuan, dude, seriously?" The legal process kicked off, and that's when people really started getting frustrated. Not just because of the crimes he was accused of, but because of how calmly he continued to act innocent while the whole situation was basically screaming, "Bro, it's you." At the first trial, Bianca's family revealed new details that the police hadn't heard before. In her last communication with them, Bianca seemed unhappy. Her tone had dropped, like she was afraid someone might overhear. The prosecutor also shared that on November 3rd, a few days before she disappeared, Bianca called the airline to ask for a refund on her return ticket. Unfortunately, the airline told her that wasn't possible. She needed the money because Yuan was only giving her 80 sols a week, about $3, to survive. Plus, Yuan and Bianca didn't see each other every day since Yuan only went to university twice a week. When he was gone, Bianca had to hide in the room they shared because the landlord only allowed one tenant. Living with Yuan had clearly become a burden for Bianca. The prosecutor then revealed that in Yuan's bathroom, they found cleaning supplies like bleach and another chemical called pain sol. If the bathroom didn't already smell like a chemistry lab, the most suspicious thing was how cleanly the body had been cut. The cuts were especially neat, particularly around the face and internal organs, done with a technique that only a medical student who's too eager to practice could pull off, or maybe someone prepping for a final anatomy exam. Yuan, of course, continued to insist he wasn't guilty. With a straight face, he said, "I'm just a medical student," as if being a med student automatically gives you an alibi when there's a neatly dismembered body nearby. Apparently in Yuan's world, bringing a scalpel to the bathroom is totally normal. So all these accusations? Clearly, it's just because he's a med student, not the fact that his apartment looks like a CSI crime scene. He also claimed that on the days Bianca disappeared, he wasn't even in Hako City. Responding to the accusations about the TikTok videos showing human organs, Yuan said his TikTok account was actually meant to help other medical students pass their exams. Maybe he didn't quite grasp the difference between studying anatomy and selling organs. As the trial progressed, forensic analysis confirmed that the body parts found were indeed Bianca Arellano's. Yuan once again denied ever being romantically involved with her. Yeah, that's confusing. With the hope that this would somehow lessen the charges and penalties against him. But the prosecutor kept bringing more evidence to the table. Detectives discovered that on November 7th, the day Bianca stopped communicating with her family, Yuan had searched on Google for how to reset a ZTE phone, which was the brand Bianca was using. On top of that, Yuan was found to have turned off his phone's GPS to avoid being tracked. Those suspected of helping Yuan in this crime were called in by the public ministry for further questioning. The defendant's actions revealed a tight partnership with his buddy, Edson Emil Flores Bragan. Around 7 p.m. on November 7th, Yuan and Edson were spotted hopping into a car to buy some trash bags, 2 packs of cigarettes, and a cake from a nearby store. Looking back, that's a pretty sketchy shopping list. Maybe they forgot to add alibi to the list. It's suspected that this is when the crime went down at Yuan's place. Who would have thought a serious crime could start with a bag of cake? Half an hour later, Yuan casually told the landlord he'd be leaving his motorbike parked in the hallway. Apparently, the motorbike had a more important job to do than Yuan himself. The next day, he went and bought disinfectant, probably hoping that magical liquid could wipe away both the mess and the guilt. And after that, he stopped attending his university classes. Seems like Yuan forgot that life isn't like skipping school. You can't just skip a crime. A witness claimed to have seen Yuan doing some shady stuff at the university. Even though the witness denied being involved in the crime, there's plenty of evidence to back up the charges against Yuan. Eventually, Yuan decided to spill the truth. But we all know how Yuan's truth goes. It's usually more twisted than a thesis that never ends. Yuan admitted he was in Hako City when the crime happened. But like a never-ending soap opera, he claimed that on November 6th, when he arrived at the room he shared with Bianca, nobody answered when he rang the bell, as if he was expecting room service to show up and open the door. This statement, of course, clashed with his friend's version. Seems like the doorbell wasn't the only thing not working right here. Yuan also insisted that he'd been cooperating with the police since the beginning of the investigation. He then complained about how tired he was from having to sleep on the prison floor and share a bathroom with other inmates without proper facilities. Maybe he thought he was at a 5-star hotel, not in jail. Maybe he was also expecting room service and a free massage. On November 22nd, the court ordered Yuan to be held in preventive detention for 9 months as the main suspect in Bianca Arellano's murder case. While in prison, Yuan, who apparently couldn't handle the lack of amenities, attempted suicide due to the pressure he was under. He wrote a dramatic letter saying he didn't want his family to continue being hurt and treated like animals. Maybe he forgot that his actions went way beyond breaking hotel rules. The defense filed an appeal, trying to flip the situation by claiming there wasn't enough evidence to hold Yuan. Maybe they forgot that the evidence they had was more than enough, like a birthday cake with way too much frosting. However, the judge stood firm, ruling that Yuan's detention was necessary because of the risk of him running away. And honestly, who wouldn't be suspicious of someone who turned off their phone's GPS while being hunted by the police? On December 3rd, 2022, Bianca's family set up an altar in her memory. This is where the sadness really hit, when Carla confirmed through her Twitter account that Bianca's body had been found on the beach. A tragically ironic moment, like hoping to find answers in the waves, but only finding grief. They shared images of white flowers as a tribute, a symbol of purity lost to such a cruel crime. Amidst the sadness, Carla firmly urged the authorities in Peru to make sure this crime was fully investigated. She also hoped the case would gain enough public attention, because let's be real, no one should get away with something like this. She wanted the suspects held accountable, as if saying, "Hey, you can hide behind your excuses and lies, but justice will come knocking at your door." Carla also thanked the media and authorities who kept pushing for justice for Bianca. As part of the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, Carla joined a protest demanding justice for her aunt and all the women who have been victims. Bianca was the 39th woman killed in Peru in 2022. And if there's one thing for sure, it's that these numbers shouldn't be higher than a soccer match score. In the last 5 years, Peru has recorded 674 cases of murdered women, enough to fill a stadium with thousands of spectators. Unfortunately, this isn't a game anyone wants to watch. Bianca's case didn't just shake Peru and Mexico, but all of Latin America. Yuan was sentenced to 35 years in prison for his crime, and maybe he'll earn a new title, prison doctor, something he never dreamed of. Be careful when interacting with people you meet online, because not all friends from the internet end up as sweet as they do in the movies. Who knows, some might be more interested in your organs than your chats. So if you don't want to end up in the headlines, it's better to stay cautious. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and get your friends to subscribe to this channel to hear more intriguing stories from E Felt the Dark. If you enjoy stories that mess with your mind, maybe we can even hire Yuan as our surgeon to stitch up even darker tales, assuming he's not too busy behind bars. See you in the next video.